All right, Disney Adventures magazine. It was a brand of the Disney machine that I worked on for several years, starting I think in 1999. Yes, because my working for them coincided with my daughter Lily's birth, because the day that my wife was going to give birth to her was the first day that I started designing characters for Disney Adventures magazine. I think I worked on it from 1999 to 2005 was my last job for them, and then it wasn't much longer after that they didn't go out of business. They just changed format. They stopped doing these digest. These are digest books that that used to be sold at like checkout counters at grocery stores, Walmarts, and probably Target and different places like that. These three comics. They're not comics, they're magazines. They had comics in the back of them. But these three magazines come from the year 2000, and it had been going for I remember in the 1990s seeing these in the in like checkout counters and things like that. And they were it was a pretty important magazine for a while. I was told that that they were selling upwards to like 1 million copies per month, and I don't know if it came out every month because this one says May 2000, then this is the next issue and it says summer 2000, and then it skips to September 2000. And how do I know that these are consecutive issues? Well, I had a story that was a continuing story in all of them, and it's this guy right here. Is a Donald Duck story, but he becomes a superhero in this magazine here, a superhero called the Duck Avenger, and I was hired to draw this adventure that started here, went through here, and then ended up here. And we're going to look at it in just a bit, but I wanted to also share this. I was sent this as reference material. This is an Italian comic book called PK, and that is Pepperinic. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Pepperinic New Adventures, and I think Donald Duck is called Pepperino over there in Italy. And I want to, before I go any further, I want to say that the ducks, the Disney, I guess Mickey Mouse and the ducks prominently have always been hugely more popular overseas in places like Italy and France and Scandinavia than well, they're popular here, but just not in the comics so much. I guess they probably were popular back in the 40s and 50s, but not so much as I remember seeing them on and I used to get them. I used to get like the digest Disney comics and the Disney comics that were being licensed to, I can't remember. I think it was Gold Key comics back whenever I was little, but they didn't last that long. And they've made several attempts at a comeback, but and I'm sure they're still being published now. But I don't know what company is, Boom maybe, or IDW, I don't know who's publishing them now. But what I'm saying is they're thriving still overseas, and this is the Italian version of Donald Duck, and it's got some really cool artwork that's really frenetic and real loose. I like it a lot, and in this story, Donald Duck becomes a superhero, but he's still silly. He's still like a bumbling superhero, but it really fits in with this type of storytelling, and I can't read it, but I really enjoy looking at it, and I used a lot of this for. See, there's Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And that's their, they've even changed now since when the new DuckTales came out. I remember the models for them all changed, but I still really enjoy the old school look. But it just has a lot of energy in it. But anyway, I was given this as a kind of like model sheets or whatever to And even in the back, they have all of the plans for the spaceships and the aliens headquarters and things like that. And so a lot of really cool stuff in here. And then even with the alien, I'm assuming that's mutant, with the alien mutant character. So anyway, this is what I had to go by. Well, he's not in really good shape whenever this story is ended. I'm sure it's to be continued. Well, my job was to draw these stories in here, and the comics were always at the end of the magazine. You'd have something called the Comic Zone, and this was edited by a guy named Steve Bailing, and I used to work for him whenever I was at Marvel. He was part of Marvel's creative services. And I'm flipping through this so you can see what the rest of the magazine looked like. It was just like news articles and just fun stuff, kind of like stuff that you see. I forget the name of that magazine that used to come out, but it was for like kids in school. I can't remember it, but I remember I used to get it. It would have puzzles and all different kinds of things, articles and just really cool stuff, but it's geared for kids. But in the back there was something called the Comic Zone, and that's what Steve from Marvel, and that's how I got my job there, because I did a lot of work for him at Marvel. And whenever Marvel declared bankruptcy back in '96, I guess it was, that whole branch moved from Marvel over to Disney Adventures magazine. Granted, this was years before Marvel bought out. Disney bought out Marvel, and Marvel became a part of Disney. So this was way before that, way before the movies even. I think the X-Men movie was the first one that came out, and I remember that coming out around the same time that I was doing this. So anyway, this is it. This is the Duck Avenger comic that I did, and it was a blast to do. I remember working for Disney Adventures magazine. Everything had to be on model, of course, but I was kind of used to that by that time, because I had been working on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic for Archie before. I was working on that, coinciding with working on this. And so this was just a lot of fun. They would have their credits across the front page here. So the writers are Stephen Murphy and Michael Stewart. I never met any of these guys, but I do know Michael Stewart. Did a lot of work with him. And then this is me penciling it. Inking it is Jeff Albrecht, a guy that I remember. He did a lot of animation work, but I know he worked for First Comics back whenever I was working for them a long time ago. Letters are by Michael Stewart, the same guy that wrote it. And then the colors are by Paul Mounts. Now, Paul Mounts is a very famous, did a lot of work for Marvel and Image, and really sought after colorist. And I've been fortunate enough to have worked with him on several projects in the past, and so it was cool to do this. So anyway, it's just a story. I remember this is the Bee from the old cartoon. If you can remember back, that was a lot of fun to draw him, and even got to draw Ludwig von Drake, and so he was always a lot of fun. I can't do his voice, but I would always hear whenever I could hear his voice whenever I was drawing him in my head. And these are the aliens that they're talking about, that they're fighting, and then this is the city. This was a challenge to draw, but I had this book to go by that helped me. There was a shot in here very similar to that one that I used to draw from. I can't find it, of course, because I'm making a video. But anyway, I use that to draw from. Now, whenever I was doing these Disney Adventures magazine comics, I would draw bigger than they were printed here, but I would draw them on like 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and so it was just a little bit bigger than this, and then they would shrink it down. And I did that because I think it was around this time I started scanning my stuff and just emailing it to the guys, whereas before you'd have to mail the stuff off. But this is where things started changing, and you started working not working digitally yet, but using emailing your pages instead of mailing the stuff off. So this is his costume in Ludwig von Drake's lair, or whatever, in the Duck Lair Tower. That's it. So anyway, he puts it on. That's the first shot of him as the Duck Avenger. Not bad, if I do say so myself. Of course, a little theme music might help. And then I don't know, something that's a portal to another dimension or to space, wherever these guys are. And so he's of course he doesn't want to go, but he said, I need your help, Donald Kablooey. Oh, no, you don't. You're the Duck Avenger. Start avenging. And so anyway, look out, aliens! Here comes the Duck Avenger. So this is him going through the portal, and doesn't really know where he's going to land. But anyway, that was the first. And let's see how many. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was a 10-page story. That was usually long. That was longer than what I usually got. I was usually 5-pagers, 6-pagers, something like that. And here, let's see. This is a dinosaur comic that came out. Usually there was like 2 comics at the back of the magazine, but sometimes there would be comics that were like, if it was like a new movie that was coming out, they would have a comic in the middle, but it doesn't look like they did it for this issue. Looks like they put it back here. I don't even know who did this. Pencils, Alan Batson. I have no idea. I don't know that artist. This one takes place right after that other installment that I just told you about. So anyway, it's still the same group working on this. So he's with the bee, and oh, my aching molecules, where are we? The bee, Spike, that's his name, Spike. So now he's on this alien landscape, and I had to kind of sort of design it. So that was a little bit of fun. I kind of made it look like a desert, but it was like an alien type desert. Of course, he's trying to get me out of here, get me back where I started from. And then I had to design. I remember I had to design this alien world that they're in. But I had this as kind of sort of a way to envision how the buildings would look and everything. And I remember designing this this guy here. He was a lot of fun. I just made him up from whole cloth, and a lot of fun. Man, this takes me back because it was a long time ago. It was 26 years ago now. But I was 33, I think, whenever I drew this. Man, that was a long time ago. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. And of course he's getting blasted off, and this is that was the last panel there. And so he meets the aliens, and the I don't know if that's like a mad doctor or what, or the leader. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, they shoot him out. This passing energy storm will provide a fitting demise. Then Von Drake and I shall watch the earth fall to the pieces without the power of the universal code. I have no idea what he's doing. Trying to take over the universe like they always do. And then the last one is in here, I think. And I did a lot of different. This was something called the Jetpack Pets. It came out around the same time. I don't think it ever had a cartoon or anything, but it has that look of like Powerpuff Girls and something you'd see on Nickelodeon. I think Nickelodeon had its own magazine that similar to this that came out around the same time. But I think mine is, this is the last part of the Duck Avenger story. And so and he's falling from the, and there's hat. I remember this is like a beat, and he said, my super suit has created some kind of force field. I'm not doomed. Wait, now there's nothing holding me up. And so his hat, he's falling, he's going down, but his hat's staying up there. And that I did that for a reason, because it was a beat that I was going to use later, something to call back to. And so now he's fallen, and so what I did was I just used one whole landscape here and had him, you can see he's going all the way down, so you're seeing him close up here, and then you're seeing him here. It's broken up by the panels, but it's still one long shot. This is just to show the time, him falling from here to here to here, until he's way down here, and he sees this monster that he ran from in the next in the last installment of the story. He said, well, that's a relief. I won't be squished on those rocks, because I'm going to be devoured by that gigantic monster instead. Of course, you got to hear that in the Donald Duck voice. And then, of course, he bonks off the top of his head, and he's got the stars where it's like, oh, it hit. He hit him, and skin his booty, basically, is what we used to say. And then he lands, but he rolls, and then of course his cape goes over the top of him, and then this is where it harkens back. I don't know if anybody caught this, but this is where his hat this is where he falls, and his hat stays up there, and then it falls on him. It falls directly on top of him, because hey, it's a comic book, and so of course it falls on top of his head. And then he's getting up and trying to, I should put some more stars down here, because his rear end would still be because of him hitting the top of that thing's head. But anyway, the thing snags him on the cape and starts pulling him back, and then blarg, and so you think, oh, he's going to eat him. And then it goes back to Zoster's laboratory. I guess that's this guy, Zoster, and so he's got Ludwig von Drake imprisoned there. And then the next thing you know, here comes Donald riding on that monster, that many-eyed monster, and they're killing Key Rash coming through the wall. The Duck Avenger, incredible. You have tamed the terrible Zondarian Jelly Eye monster. Obviously, I have underestimated you, but it matters not. You're too late, hero. Nothing can stop me from deleting your universal code. I always like drawing hands gesturing, but you can really up the ante whenever you're working with cartoony hands. And I got to do that with Sonic, and I got to do that here, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of stuff you can do with that. So here we go again and I'm making the angles look askew to denote action. Anytime something is on a diagonal, like here and here, it's going to denote more. Even here, I kind of tilted it up a little bit, just to denote dynamism and action and forward momentum. And so those are just tricks that you can use to make your stories more fun, more palatable, more fun, whatever you want to call it. Even if they're comedy stories, you can make them, you can make them a lot of fun and make them. My job is to make the reader want to turn the page to see what happens next. Well, anyway, he brings the jelly-eyed monster. I guess he beats the bad guys here, fumbles his way through it, and he's got Ludwig von Drake back, and he's got the monster plowing the field in the back. When a jelly eye loses in combat, he must serve the person who beat him, no matter how lucky that person may have been. So I'm sticking with you, Donald, and I'm never leaving. And he goes, ack, the end for now. Of course, that was it. That was the end of the story. Never was collected, as far as I know. Let me see, is this another 10-pager, or however many pages I said that other one was? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this is just 6 pages here. And I think it was just 6 pages in this one as well. Let's see. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So 10, 6, and 6. So that would have been a comic if they would have wanted to put it out. And reason why I'm sharing that with you right now is because I'm working on a Duck Avenger commission for somebody, a friend of mine, who lives in Germany. So like I said, Donald Duck, the Duck Avenger, Mickey Mouse, all of the Disney comics are more popular overseas, I think, even now than they ever have been over here in the United States, at least in my lifetime. Maybe if I go back a few decades, maybe it would have been different with all the Carl Barks stuff whenever it was first coming out. I know that that's a name that's highly respected in the comic book circles, the people that know him. But then again, how many people even know who Carl Barks is? You know. It's like how many people know who Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko, you know. More people know Stan Lee because he's he's been the spokesperson for Marvel for years, and people in the art community know who Carl Barks is. He's a great artist. I suggest, if you've never read any Carl Barks Duck stuff, he's the guy. DuckTales would not exist without the work of Carl Barks. That's what started it all. So I highly recommend you checking some of his stuff out. And if you still don't know who he is, maybe I should do another video just on him in the future, because he's definitely worth it. Anyway, this is the Duck Avenger. This is Disney Adventures Magazine, who I worked for quite a few years. My last job for them was in 2005. I think it was the Tim Allen Shaggy Dog. I did a comic based on that movie, because every time a movie would come out, they would have a comic about it, and that was the last one that I did. And then they reformatted the comic, and it went into they didn't use comics after that. And then Italian. Italian Donald Duck, Italian Pepperinic, which is the Duck Avenger. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll be having some new material up for you soon, and I'll do another video where I'm inking this, so you can check that out as well. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.